Well, the engine's back in for about the, I don't know, 10th or 12th times. There's like 45 or 50 videos on this car, and I think there's got to be a couple of them of the engine going in and being started to test it in various ways. But right now I've got everything pretty close to making a completely running, driving car out of it. I mean, it's got a legal exhaust system, it's got the radiator in it, the whole cooling system's there, transmission cooler's there, all the wiring's there, except for finalizing the gauges. I don't have an instrument panel. I mean, I've got an instrument panel that's laying in the floor in there, so I do know that I have oil pressure and I can see what the water temperature is, but I don't have gauges up on the dash yet. But it's getting close. Tell me, what did you think? Did you think this car would ever make it to the point of actually being able to be driven on the road, actually being able to move itself, etc.? Tell you the truth, there were times I had my doubts. Why would you want to put a Chevy engine in a Toyota? Well, I've always wanted to put one of these V8 front-wheel drive units into something smaller and lighter. And just so happens I've kind of gotten into Toyotas a little bit over the years. So it's going to go in this. Let me know in the comments what you think of this build. Let me know if you thought it was ever going to get finished when you saw the first video. And thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe. And now I think I'll put a radiator in, tidy up a few things, and see if I can get this thing to actually start again. All right, time to put a radiator in. I ordered this thing a little while back, as you may be able to tell by the dust. Word on the street is that when you put one of these in a Toyota Celica, they have a little bit of a problem with the fans clearing the front motor mount. But I don't appear to have that problem. This should be as simple as taking out a few bolts, disconnecting a few wires. Yeah, if I can give them the release. I figure now is the time to change out this radiator because I'm going to put coolant in it instead of just water this time around. And hopefully it won't have to be drained too many times. It's not going to clear on this side. There we go. Now my reasoning for waiting so long to put this in was to keep it in real good shape, not beat it up. So let's see how that works out for us. Woohoo! Got a nice M on it in a spot where you'll never see it. Get that out of the way. Oh. Well, look at that. That one's broken. I probably have another one of those around here somewhere. Aha, I found one. I found like 4 sets of upper ones before I found one lower one, but that was too easy. Put this on the right way around. Get all this junk out of the way. Let's leave those bolts a little bit loose until we get the fan set back in place. Make sure the threads are nice and clean, especially on used bolts going into aluminum. Make sure that it actually threads into the hole before you assemble it and run it down with an impact. Yeah, because that bolt doesn't seem to want to go into those threads very good. The other one went in great. This one's not going in so good. We'll check this bolt in this hole, see if it's the bolt hole or the bolt. And it's definitely the bolt, because the bolt doesn't want to go in this hole. But the threads look clean. Well, they were clean until I dropped it on the floor. This is called a thread file. This one happens to be metric, and there's the 1.0 threads to the inch, and I'm just going to run that through those threads and make sure that they are 100% clean and clear. This may seem like a whole lot of excess work for nothing, but I took the bolt out of this side, ran it in this side. It goes all the way in, so I know the threads in the aluminum are good. If I had taken this bolt and just ran it in there with a wrench, it probably would have bound up in the aluminum, galled up the threads, and then when I tried to pull it back out, it would have tore all the threads out. So it's very important that you make sure that bolts in aluminum go all the way in by hand before you put a wrench on them. So a little more cleaning on this, and I'll try it on this side. After working on this bolt a little bit with the thread file, I ended up with a fairly shiny spot right in here. So obviously there was a little bit of a burr on those threads. Maybe there was. Goes in as far as it needs to go, but it doesn't go in as smooth as that other bolt goes in. But it does go in by hand. Well, I'm happy with that. After running it through a tap a few times, or through a die a few times, I mean, it threads in there now. All right, nice and smooth. I might put a little bit of anti-seize or something on these bolts since they're going into these aluminum things, and I don't want to tear my radiator up sometime when I try to take this apart. But next thing is to put the hoses on, and I think they're going to work. No trimming required. Looks good on that side. Two clamps, yes, two clamps. This one's going to be a tighter fit because it's shorter. I don't know who designed this, that the rubber part was going to be so short. Damn engineers. Looks good. I'll put the clamps on, tighten them up. Drop the fan in place, or fans. Yep. I was smart to leave the bolts loose in this. Matter of fact, need to take one of them out at least. Yep, it won't go under right here unless I take this bolt out. All the holes seem to line up. Looks good. Hook all the wires back up. Tighten some clamps, fill it with coolant, and see if it leaks. I mean, the radiator shouldn't leak. That's professionally made. Some of my stuff might leak. We've checked it once and it didn't leak, but let's see what happens. I need another bolt. Time to make a run to the hardware store. I need one like that, but just a little tiny bit longer. Not that long. Too short, too long. Sometimes you just can't find the bolt you need. Yeah, it's pretty close. Looks the same. Could clean a little bit of the dirt off of it. And I'm back from the hardware store. Got exactly what I needed. And I'm going to do the same thing with these bolts. Run them all the way in by hand. Make sure that they don't gall up in the threads. Perfect. That's 1 out of 2. That's 2 out of 2. Looking good. Looking good. Well, with the shininess tucked in place and all the hoses hooked up, fuel cell, all the lines running back to the engine, and I've been busy back here putting in some clamps and stuff to hold the hoses in place, kind of rerouting some hoses, cutting them to the right length. I think it might be in a position where we can start it. Everything's not hooked up as far as suspension and steering, but I think it'll run. Well, you know, I mean, I said it was all hooked up. I didn't say it was finished, just hooked up. All right, then we're about to see what's going to happen when we hit the key. As you'll know from previous videos, those of you who have watched previous videos, the battery that's in here is dead. It's the right size, it fits, but it's dead. So we're going to give it a jump. We're going to see what happens. And contact. I hear a fuel pump. Nothing. Backfire. Let's touch the throttle a little bit and see what happens. All right, it's alive, and nothing fell off of it. All right. No leaks on the transmission cooler? No, doesn't seem to be. All right, let's shut it off. There's no water in it yet, or should I say coolant. This just might work. It just might work. Probably should open the door. Anyway, things are looking a bit different than they did a few weeks ago. Actually got hoses routed, some clamps in place to hold them from vibrating all over. Yeah, I better open the door. And in some places, it's just temporarily done. Like way back in there, you'll see a tie wrap. That tie wrap's on there because, well, I can't get in there with a drill to drill a hole to mount a clamp. And I've got my air intake temporarily installed with a filter on the end of it, waiting on a couple of parts that I've ordered, and I'm going to have to make a bracket to hold that tube up somewhere down in there on that end. And a lot of wiring still just hanging everywhere. But hey, it runs. Yes, I absolutely did fill it with coolant, and I did run the engine long enough to get it hot, and I may have even drove it up and down the street. And, well, tune in next time when you find out more problems. Well, the sound check is good. So today I get to change the water pump on a V8 Toyota Celica. I think you can get it out of there without having to take the engine out. Might be enough room. And yeah, I'm really impressed because I've had it full of water several times. And after I filled it with the new coolant and all that good stuff, that's when it decided it was going to tell me that it was going to sit here and leave a puddle on the floor. All right, light Like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, and as always, thanks for watching.